Hello and welcome back to another episode covering my PlayStation 4 collection. I'm going to go through another 5 games today, same format as usual, you know the drill by now, so let's just get straight into it. First game we're going to cover is TOKI. Now this one is like a side-scrolling shoot-'em-up platformer, I'd describe it. It was actually, I can't remember if it was the NAS or the Master System or something it was originally released on. And this is basically like a HD remaster. They've added all nice kind of cartoony sprites. It's a pretty short game. I've actually completed it. I did it on the easy mode, but then there's easy, medium and hard. So there's another 2 levels of difficulty. On the easy, it did take quite a bit of practice to complete. It's one of those games that as you go through it, you could say it was unfair maybe in places, but then you'll kind of know what's coming next. So then when you know what's coming, you kind of get the patterns there, and a lot of it's muscle memory, I think, really. So if you like that kind of a game, this would definitely be for you. I have tried the medium mode. It is way harder. It seems like there's more enemies. You have less lives, less continues. Yeah, it's really challenging. The one thing I've noticed on easy mode on this, actually, there's usually a boss at the end of every level. The boss on easy mode, you can literally just stand in like a set spot and then just mash fire. And if you've got like a half decent weapon or you're just really good at mashing, you can usually beat the boss before it even like lays a finger on you basically. But that is easy mode. On medium mode, I got to the same bosses and then it was a case of, right, you need to learn the attack patterns there, you can't just stand in the same spot. Having said that, easy is no joke on this. So yeah, if you're into kind of like your hardcore kind of retro style challenging games, I'd definitely say this would be for you. I'm not going to give it, like I said, it's a short game, so I'm not going to give it the seal of approval, but you can pick it up pretty cheap. You can pick this up for about 10 quid now. So I definitely would recommend picking it up. It's one to have in your collection. It's literally one that you can just pick up anytime, play it for like a brief spurt, and then put it back on the shelf, and you don't have to worry about forgetting about the storyline or anything like that. I mean, I think the story is basically, you're like a caveman, his girlfriend gets kidnapped, you get turned into this monkey that can like you spit these like glowing balls, that's how you attack. And you can actually only attack in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 directions you can attack in. But like I said, it's side scrolling, so most of the time you're kind of going to be shooting this way. You're not really going to use a lot of the other directions, to be honest. I used the diagonally down shoot a couple of times when I was on slopes, but other than that, you're going to be mainly shooting forward, directly up and diagonally. So yeah, actually you can jump on enemies as well. It's not just shooting that's your only attack method. On top of that, you do get some power-ups. You can get like these trainers that make you jump extra high, and you can get like a football or American football helmet, and that basically just makes you invincible for a time limit. And then other than that, I think there's a different kind of shot types. You can get a spread shot, get like a charged fireball. You can just get like generally larger bullets. Kind of a lot of like the standard shooter stuff really, but yeah, if it sounds like it's your cup of tea, check it out. You can pick it up pretty cheap, I'm sure, at the moment, so that's TOKI. Okay, next game. I've said before in other videos that I don't really buy from limited run unless, you know, it's a game that I really do want. This game, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. This was released, I believe, originally on Xbox Live Arcade, I think it was. And I remember playing it and it was awesome, and there's no physical version other than this. Well, so far, unless they decide to reprint it. This one came with, I just got like the basic, this is complete edition, so it comes with the DLC, but I got like the basic offer on limited run. So there was like a whole big box set, and you get all, like, I think you get like a soundtrack CD and some other stuff, but I'm not going to pay like, I think it was over 100 quid, and that was before postage, and I just wasn't really prepared to pay that. Plus this actually took over 6 months to get delivered. Over 6 months. It was shocking. And every time it was kind of chased with limited run. My friend had the same issue actually, he got it for Switch, and they were saying, oh yeah, it's COVID, it's COVID, it's COVID. But funnily enough, nothing else I ordered from abroad, because I believe it was coming from the US, was really that delayed. So yeah, I think they were maybe just using it as a bit of an excuse. But yeah, anyway, that aside, the game itself is pretty good. In this one, this basic version, you get a manual, which is kind of nice. With a kind of Super Nintendo style writing there at the bottom. I think in the manual you just get like, yeah, there's some cool artwork with like all the characters and stuff, all the bosses. Yeah, then you actually got like proper instructions on how to play the game. So yeah, that's quite cool. And then you get this ticket as well to Clash at Demon Head. That's pretty cool. It's a nice little extra thing to have. So yeah, it did take a while to arrive, but I'm glad I've got it. I've been playing it quite a bit at the moment. I've already completed it, but I've not kind of completed it, you know, as in leveled up all the characters and stuff. The good thing about this game is that as you're kind of playing along, at first it's really challenging and tough, but then as you start unlocking more moves, like you unlock a double jump, you unlock a counter, you unlock like a kind of dodge roll, as you start unlocking stuff like that, it gets easier as you go along. Plus you start doing more damage when you hit people. Yeah, one other thing that I didn't really realise until I didn't remember the game that well, I just remembered that I really loved it. As I was playing it, it was really hard, and then I found out, oh yeah, you can go in the shops, like as you're going through the stages, you know, like Streets of Rage style, you can go in the shops, and as you buy some of the items, they give you permanent stat increases, so you can increase your speed, your defense, your power. So as you do that, then the game gets easier, and then you can kind of look at playing the harder modes. Now off the top of my head, I think you can only level up to about level 16, but then as far as I know so far, I'm still buying items and upgrading my stats, kind of past, you know, beyond the cap of level 16 if you like. There's also like a survival mode in this version. I think that originally was like DLC. It's nothing amazingly special, you're just fighting like hordes of zombies just on like one set stage. I think there's a battle royale mode where you can kind of fight with friends. Also the main game, you know, you can play multiplayer as well, local. I think it's local. Yeah, 1 to 4 players local, you don't get that nowadays, which is crazy when you think about it, like the capabilities of consoles now. And then I think the only other mode, there's one other mode, boss rush mode, so yeah, you basically just fight all the bosses in a row. What's kind of cool is like if you're kind of struggling on the game at some point, like you might get to a certain level and you're struggling to get past it, you can go back and replay stuff. A little bit grindy, but these other modes that they throw in with it, the zombie mode and the boss rush, all that contributes to your character's level. So you can at least get a bit of variation when you're kind of grinding and leveling up. So yeah, this is a game that I am going to give the seal of approval. Because yeah, it's brilliant. Also, actually, one thing that does make the game a lot easier, as you're leveling up, you can kind of get weapons as you go through the level. You can even use the enemies' bodies as weapons. But later on, you start getting these samurai swords. And when you get to like one of the higher levels, closer to 16, you kind of get the ability to hit really quick with a weapon in succession. Once you get that, you just start obliterating the bosses, at least on the easier difficulties. So this is one, yeah, I'm going to invest some more time into it and try and level all the way and maybe even get the platinum. I've not checked if there's a platinum with it. I need to check that out because it is one that I probably will get the platinum. This is one that I'll never get rid of because, yeah, well, it just took so long to arrive as a limited run. I mean, I've said before with limited run though that, you know, somebody could reprint the game and there's not much you can do about it. So my suggestion would be don't just buy it because there's like, oh, only 2,000 copies, because there could be another run. It might not be exactly the same as the one you've got, but there could be another run. So if you're buying it for value, it's not that reliable. If you're buying it because you want all the extras and the nice fancy stuff that comes with it, I waited ages for this. I spent about 50 quid in total, which is a lot for me. I wouldn't normally spend that on a game, but I do kind of like have a special place in my heart for this game, and I got a few little extras. So yeah, I can't complain really. Okay, so that's got Pilgrim versus the World. Next game, I spoke about this one previously. I'm just gonna have a sip of my brew actually, because I'm gagging in. Right, yeah, next game. I spoke about this one in another video that it was arriving, and I just thought I'll cover it now. Because I was playing it a lot, I thought I might as well record the gameplay at the same time. This one is Watchdogs Legion. Now I know this got panned by like a lot of people, or just got so-so reviews. I've seen some very mixed reviews of this game. The appeal to me was that it was set in London and it was the ability to run around London and just cause chaos. Like I've been to London and just seeing Even like going past the Millennium Wheel, it was like, oh, I stood there, took a photo there. You know, I know it sounds sad, but to me that's quite cool. Now, the actual game itself, I did play it a lot at the start. I was enjoying it a lot. The recruitment feature, which is kind of like the big selling point of this, or you can recruit anyone, because different characters, they have like different skill sets, and you can kind of like scan them with your phone, see what skills they have. What I did find was most people just had useless skills to me that were just absolutely pants. Like, I think some were like slightly quicker hacking. It's like, well, no thanks, you're all right. And then another one was like, oh, earn a little bit more money when you pick up some ammo. Just really boring ones like that. The actual decent characters that you get, now I don't know whether it's in this edition, because this says includes full game and London Dissonant Pack. Don't know whether they're included in that. I don't think they are. I think they are in the standard story, but when you you free the borough, you do like all these objectives to kind of take the, I don't know, get people to rebel in that area. And as soon as you do that, you get a special operative. So when this game really picked up for me is I freed one borough and I got an operative, and she was like a secret agent. She had like an Aston Martin style car, it could turn invisible, shoot missiles. I was just like, oh my God, this game's just hit another level. So I spammed that for ages, kept playing as her. The only thing I did, which is a double-edged sword, some people will like it, some people won't. I do lean on the side of liking it, but again, you could see it. I mean, it's not really negative because you can turn it off. It's the permadeath feature. I put the permadeath feature on because then I actually felt like I was going to die, and I liked the character. I was like, no, I don't want to die. It took me ages to find this character, you know, with this skill set. Which it literally does, because like I said, a lot of the skill sets are pretty garbage. Like, if I got killed with a secret agent, I might even stop playing the game. And that's the negative to it. Like, there's the rush of like, oh, I don't want to die. But at the same time, when you do die, it's like such a sucker punch. Because with the very special characters, you really don't want to lose them. Now, you don't always lose them when you die. Sometimes if you die, you'll be injured, you'll go to hospital. Sometimes you'll go to jail. And then you can recruit different characters that kind of reduce that amount of time that they're out of service. But yeah, I tend to find when they get a brutal injury, like if you're inside a car and it explodes, you're pretty much dead. I think at one point, I got like shot in the face and I was standing on top of a drone, and then I fell off it about 300 foot and splattered on the pavement. Yeah, she was dead after that one, unfortunately. So I found I was dead more than I wasn't. And one time I got arrested, I got lucky and I got arrested, and then I was at a jail in like, I was in jail for 20 minutes. I think in game time it's obviously longer than that, but your actual play time, it's not too bad. Now I wanted to recruit like an old person because I thought, oh, it'll be a laugh. You know, I'll just go on a rampage with an old person because it's just, whatever, if they die, they're pretty useless. I did do that and it was a bit of a laugh, but what I realised was that the actual security forces in this game, they're pretty incompetent. I was like hobbling around with this rifle and I must have kept them off me for about 15 minutes, and I was at pretty much max wanted level. The only way they got me is I like kind of got jammed in a car park at one point, and then they were all just slamming into me and the car just exploded. And that was the end of Ethel, unfortunately. Yeah, I remember I recruited her and she was like, I'm not ready to go out to pasture yet. And then yeah, 15 minutes later she was put out to pasture, but what can you do? That's another thing about this game though. Some of the voice acting I thought was pretty good. The lip syncing is garbage. It's absolute garbage. But if you don't really mind stuff like that, that doesn't bother me too much. Then yeah, you can just move past it. I've noticed in the more kind of cutscenes where it's set characters in the game, the lip syncing is fine. It's just with the more, the characters must be randomly generated that you can recruit. It's with them, the lip syncing just seems a little bit off. Whether there was just an obscene amount of lip syncing needed doing in the game and they were just like, right, let's just bang this out and get it done. Because really, a lot of the characters you recruit so far as I can tell, a lot more different voices, so there's pretty impressive voice work going on here. The only thing I'd mention as well, the only thing I'd mention as well is there's some weird glitches in this game. I don't think I've caught all of them. One of them, I got out my car to kind of just use this post box thing. So I got out my car to use it, and then I turned around and my car's like this vertical, sticking up out of the pavement. And then I got in it and I'm just like facing up to the sky. I couldn't move it, couldn't do anything. One time I spawned into the game, I was sitting on a bench reading my mail or whatever, because they do like a little cutscene when you spawn into the game. Like you get a message off the bloody AI guy called Bagley, who's just this annoying British, bit like me really. But yeah, you get a message off him, and yeah, I kind of got up to get off the bench, and then she got stuck and was just running on the spot on the bench. I was like, really? I've literally just started the game and it's soft locked. So I had to quit out and go all the way back in. And the other thing is the load times are massive. So is this game perfect? No, not at all. Is it good? I think it's alright. I had a laugh with it, but I like running around London and stuff. And if you don't mind playing as loads of butt ugly characters, I had to like put a mask on most of them because look, I'm not saying I'm a bloody oil painting myself, but when I'm playing my computer games, I'd like to pretend to be someone else, you know. And yeah, literally like everyone I recruited was really ugly. I got like some kind of athletic kickboxing woman who was like, obviously like an oriental kind of woman. She was pretty attractive, but then I think she got killed, and I was like, oh great, that was my only attractive team member. Not that I'm like a total perv or anything, but you know, I just wanted like some decent looking characters on me. Anyway, that's it. I'm not going any further with that one. I'm digging myself a hole. Watchdogs Legion. If you want to pick it up, pick it up. You can probably pick it up pretty cheap now. I think I got this complete edition about 15 quid. It wasn't a bad deal. It's alright. Am I going to actually complete it, platinum it? I don't know yet. I did enjoy going around getting the collectibles and stuff. When you kind of liberate a borough, all the collectibles show up on the map. So if you're a completionist, like that is definitely something you might want to look at. But I feel like in this game it's only got so much mileage for me. Like you can get in drones and fly around, but as far as I've seen, there's no helicopters and planes. And I'm like, God, if you just had that, it'd be a bit better. But I think one of the reasons they probably didn't do that is it might kind of expose how small the actual map is. The map feels big when you're driving around, but I feel like if I was in a plane and flying over it at a decent speed, because the drones go really slowly that you can get, I feel like it would kind of expose it. Another thing I've noticed as well is you can barely go in any of the buildings, only like a couple of the pubs, which are more like kind of, I suppose you can call it hubs. I think actually there's only one hub where like your hideout is in this pub, and then there's a few other pubs scattered around. The clothes shops, you don't even go in them, you just like stand at the door and you pick your items of clothing. Not the end of the world for me, but it would have been nice to go in a few shops and stuff like that. I mean, even, you know, GTA, been out for years, you can still go in a couple of shops and just have a mooch around, you know. So that would have been good. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it's not perfect, but I had a laugh with it, and I probably still will have a laugh with it. I've not actually played any of the online features yet. I remember on the original Watchdog, I did actually have a lot of fun with that. They had like a hide and seek style game where you like had to hack somebody else's phone, so I might give that a try at some point. Anyway, swiftly moving on. Next one, spoke about this one before, Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, just Ratchet and Clank, the remake of the original one. Just gonna drink my brew again. Yeah, this is really good. Yeah, it's not a like-for-like remake in that it's not exactly the same. They've actually added like some slightly different levels and story beats and stuff like that. I think the end boss is nefarious, and in the original it was just this chairman Drep guy. So yeah, they did change it. I think maybe to more align with the movie that came out. I actually watched the movie. I didn't think it was that bad, but it didn't get great reviews. But it was alright. I love Ratchet and Clank, so I was like, I'm definitely watching that. Yeah, it's fun. It's got the whole New Game Plus thing. We can go through and level up your weapons like to another tier, and like bolt multipliers, so you can earn more bolts to unlock the better weapons. The graphics, absolutely gorgeous. This is, well, other than obviously Rift Apart, this is the best graphics you're going to get in a Ratchet and Clank game. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. There's some like little cool bits they added in, like I'm sure the big red machine guy who kind of chases you through the ship at some points, and I think he's like a boss fight at some point if I remember correctly. Yeah, he's like quite a cool addition to it, and I think it really highlights how cinematic it is in some places when you're like running from him on the ship. I mean, it's like a basic mini game where you've got to jump over his lasers and stuff, but it feels like more cinematic. And I think they added a few extra puzzles to this and stuff. Captain Quark is like brilliant. He's like one of my favourite characters. He's just like, I find him quite funny. A lot of people say it's like dated humour, but yeah, I like it. So yeah, this is definitely one you want to pick up. The only thing I don't like about this, it's probably a criticism I could throw at a lot of the Ratchet and Clank games, but sometimes I can't really be bothered with some of the... they try to be a jack of all in some places. I really love the platforming and shooting, but at some points it'll be like, oh, enter the hoverboard race, or the speed bike race. In some of the Ratchet and Clanks, I think there's a speed bike race, and stuff like that for me was just a bit like, okay, I've done it to get my objective, but then you have to win the other cups if you want to get all the gold bolts and stuff like that, which I'm always into, like platinum these games. But that is probably one of the least enjoyable bits, because I just find it, they're quite challenging, which is good, but I just never really find them that fun. The most fun you'll have is like in the arena. Now there's actually no, that's one negative of this one to the others. There's no like arena mode. I used to love the arena mode where you could go to the arena, fight waves of enemies and bosses, and it was just a good way of like grinding and leveling up your weapons that was actually fun. There's no arena mode in this one, unfortunately. So yeah, that's the only kind of negative I'd give to it. That and the hoverboard sections, but a lot of people actually like the hoverboard sections. They're just not really for me, but it doesn't really detract from the main game. It's still a brilliant game. It's still a beautiful game, and I'm going to give it the seal of approval. Right, okay, and then on to our last game. I got a little bit of gameplay for this one. I was having some technical issues on my PS4 with it. In some places it was lagging really bad, and I had to like reinstall it. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, it's called 7 Enhanced Edition. Now this is like a top-down RPG, and I'll just get straight into the gameplay so you can see kind of what's going on. But you're basically playing in this like futuristic world where I think there's been like a war between humans and demons, and then some guy takes control of the world, rises up out of the ashes and kind of pieces together. Basically the world's in ruin after that's happened. This guy leads humanity onto another age, something like that. And yeah, I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, I not got that far into it, mainly because I was coming across like a few bugs and issues, and the performance was pretty bad in places. But I think this is a game that it is on PC, and I've not played on PC, but I'm willing to bet it will perform a lot better on PC. It'll probably be supported better in the patches on PC, so that's just something to bear in mind if it looks interesting to you and you've got a decent PC. Now, yeah, this is like a stealth game, basically top-down stealth, sneaking around, sneaking in bushes. You can loot your enemies, take the weapons. You can wear the guard's armor and kind of disguise yourself as a guard, which is a nice little touch. Like literally any guard, you can just rob his clothing. The stealth mechanics are alright, like they're serviceable. The one good thing I'll say about it is there's a lot of like dimensions to the environments, as in you can usually like climb up most objects and get to high places, and in some point in the video you'll see me like kind of walking along one of the air vents, just basically like circumvent like a big area. I mean, granted, it's only like the first area in the game, so it's not like, I'd take everything I'm saying with a pinch of salt here, really, to be honest, on this one. But yeah, it was... I don't really know if I like it at the moment. I found that, as well, what I found is, I played this like months and months ago. I came into all the performance issues and I knocked it on the head, and I played it again recently just to get some recorded gameplay. Still had a couple of issues, and going back to it now, it kind of just refreshed my memory that this game really does not hold your hand. It tells you what the controls are on the screen, but you're kind of waiting for them to prompt you and tell you what to do next, and it really doesn't. And that for me was a bit like, I complain sometimes about games holding my hand too much, but then games that just don't at all. I'm fine with games that don't at all, just give me a bloody manual. There's no manual. So yeah, this one, I find it hard to recommend this one. I think it is a nice one to have in your collection because it's just something a little bit different. So that's definitely one positive to say about it. I need to kind of play it some more to try and get to the point where I was having the real performance issues. You kind of go off to this, I won't tell you what the nature of the island is, but you go off to this bigger area, and as soon as you get into that bigger area, that's when the performance starts taking a hit. And I've not quite got there yet. I'm not far off it, so it'll be interesting to see if I still get the performance hit this time, because it's been patched a few times. But I went through all the patch notes and it was just like bug fixes, fixed a bug with this quest and that quest. Apparently there were a lot of bugs with like quest lines and things like that. But yeah, there was nothing there about fixing any performance issues, so I'm not really holding my breath on that one, unless they've just put it on the general fixes. But it was pretty bad, the performance issue. And yeah, so yeah, I can't recommend this one, but it's just an interesting one I picked up, and I picked it up really cheap. I think I paid like £7 for it, so I bet you can get that pretty cheap on Amazon. So yeah, apologies, not a great deal to say about that one at the moment. If you just want to expand your collection, go for it. But yeah, I wouldn't feel right actually recommending it to somebody at this point. Right, and then on to our final section, which is what's on my radar. Now I need to be careful with this because the amount of games now I've covered and stuff being on my radar, I think I've already picked up like one of them. I think one, maybe two. But the amount of games that I'm after is like this, and the amount of games I'm buying at the moment is like this. So, but do you know what? That's not a bad thing, because if I was really struggling for games to buy, then I'd probably have nothing to bloody talk about. So I don't even know. Let's have a look what's on the radar. Let's consult the old Oracle, also known as my shit laptop. Yep. Just connecting to next door's Wi-Fi. Just give me a minute. He's not changed his password, has he? Nah, he hasn't. Classic. La 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 la. Right. This is a good one. This is one I've known about absolutely ages. But now we're in the era of like HD TVs and, you know, none of this SCART stuff, and I kind of miss like SCART TVs. Just going off on a tangent there, I kind of miss like the scan lines and the little curves. Like if I'm ever playing like a retro game, I always put that filter on. It's just like, oh, it just feels like, I don't know, it's like home. But yeah, in this era of like HD TVs, I found that like light gun shooters have just died. And they released like quite a few Time Crisis games on the PS3. They released Time Crisis, Raising Storm, I believe it's called. The only reason I haven't picked it up yet, because I've noticed it's pretty cheap at the moment, like 10-15 quid. So, you know, it's a very reasonable price. I've got like a decent sized TV. I just need the PlayStation Move. I don't have the PlayStation Move yet. And I believe that would work my PS4 too. So that's like kind of a good investment. But I'm looking around, it's like 100 quid for a PlayStation Move. That's just, to me, that's just like way too much, way too much. I wish that laptop would stop beeping. Yeah, 100 quid for a PlayStation Move is really expensive. At the moment, I'm kind of saving up for some other things, so it's just a case of like prioritizing what I want to buy and when. But I used to remember going in all the arcades and playing all the light gun games with my dad, and it was just like, it was good fun, and I got really good at them. Like, I was quite a good shot, really, you know. There's a place near us now that he's basically just gutted out a warehouse. He's filled it with all old arcade machines. He's got ones like from, you know, Japan that you wouldn't normally see over here. He's got like proper retro ones. So you go in there and they've got like Simpsons Arcade, Ninja Turtles. They've got the Star Wars one where it was just like wireframe, you know, like really proper old retro stuff. Centipede, Mortal Kombat one. And then he's got another floor of like all PC VR headsets. He's got a Nintendo Switch set up, and the screen is like, well, imagine this wall behind me, like ×2, it's like that, and you can like multiplayer it, Mario Kart. Sometimes he's got like, you know, PS4 Pro or whatever on it, and like FIFA. You know, I'm not massive on FIFA myself, but like to play something on that bigger screen is pretty cool. But one thing he does have there is the light gun games, and I played one with my mate. I can't remember what we played. It might have been like House of the Dead 2 or something like that, which is one of the best ones out there basically. And he kept beating my score, but my gun was definitely broken. I was like, it's broken. Like, let's swap and you'll see that it's broken. And he was like, oh no, it's just shooting rubbish. But he wouldn't swap, so, you know, it was honestly broken as well. I'm not just saying that it was legit broken. It's like I was shooting and everything was like going to the right. Having said that though, my eyesight has got worse over the years, so maybe it is me. But there's only one way to find out, and that's to pick up this game this Time Crisis game from a PS3, get the PlayStation Move, and I can give it a go. Also, if I get the PlayStation Move, I can give Dreams a go as well and see what it's like with the PlayStation Move. You know, proper like sculpt stuff in a 3D environment. I said in a previous video that the pad is like more than serviceable, and it is. But I've seen some people playing it recently, and the stuff they do with the Move controllers is just like mind-blowing. So I wouldn't mind giving that a go, really. And Dreams, Media Molecule are still supporting Dreams at the moment. They're still putting stuff out. Like, I think recently I saw they were doing, like, they made this character like this big muscular penguin, and they were like, you make the adventure and you make all the different levels, and I guess they submit them like a competition, and at the end it'll make like a game. So yeah, that was pretty interesting. I went off on a tangent there about the Move controllers, but yeah, so really what's on my radar is the Move controllers, and then the first game I'll pick up is Time Crisis. But that's it, I've waffled on too long about that. Hope you enjoyed the video. I'm going to bang out one more PS3 video about the last third of my collection, and then what I might do after that is either just kind of cover stuff as I pick it up, or actually just kind of play some games in a bit more detail and talk about them. Another thing I want to do as well is a little bit of gameplay. I've got coming in the post, I've not really covered any like Nintendo games, DS games or anything like that, and there's a reason for that. I don't really have a massive collection, and I'm a bit like, I'm very picky with what I buy with like the Nintendo games. But I used to love Advance Wars Dual Strike on the DS, and I've got 3DS, and I've got Dual Strike on the way, so I really want to like put some gameplay up on that. When that arrives, I mean, to be honest, recording gameplay on the new 3DS is very difficult from what I've seen, and I really don't want to get into like hacking it and stuff. So what I'm gonna do is I'll just use an emulator because I own the game, so it's all strictly legit, and I'm gonna try and like do a couple of maps and stuff like that, and just see how that goes. And you know, if people don't like it, they don't have to watch it. I might even like unlist it so it just doesn't fill up people's feeds, because I know people kind of like to see this sort of stuff, at least for the time being. But yeah, just trying something different really. Anyway, that's the end of my video. I hope you have a good week. Yeah, because we're on Monday now, although this might be a Tuesday. But I hope you enjoy the rest of your week, and yeah, bye. Don't forget to like and subscribe.